You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming genuinely interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. Think about that for a second. We spend so much of our lives polishing our resumes, curation our Instagram feeds, and rehearsing our elevator pitches just to seem impressive. But what if the real cheat code to influence wasn't about being the smartest or the loudest person in the room? What if it was actually about getting out of your own way? That is the core of Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was written in 1936, but honestly, in our world of digital noise and shrinking attention spans, these lessons are more survival skills than they are suggestions. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. A book from the 1930s? Is this just going to be corporate etiquette? Not even close. This is a manual on human hacking. Carnegie was a pioneer who realized that 15% of financial success comes from technical knowledge, but 85% comes from human engineering, your personality, and your ability to lead people. By the end of this video, you aren't just going to have a summary. You're going to have a toolkit. Whether you're trying to close a massive deal, fix a strained relationship with a sibling, or just stop being the person people avoid at parties, these principles are your roadmap. Let's dive into the 4 pillars of Carnegie's philosophy. Chapter 1. The Art of Not Being a Jerk, Fundamental Techniques. Carnegie starts with a hard truth. Criticism is like a homing pigeon. It always comes back to roost. Think about a time you messed up at work. Maybe you missed a deadline. If your boss hauls you into their office and tears you a new one in front of the team, do you think, "Wow, thank you for the feedback, I'll work harder"? No. You feel humiliated. You get defensive. You start looking for excuses, or worse, a new job. The Sarah scenario. Imagine an employee named Sarah. She spends 3 weeks on a presentation. Her manager, instead of seeing the 90% she got right, pounces on a typo on slide 5. Sarah leaves that meeting feeling like a failure. Her creativity dies right then and there. The fix? Carnegie says, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. If that manager had said, "Sarah, the visuals here are stunning. You clearly put the work in. Let's just tighten up the data on slide 5 to match that high quality," Sarah would have felt like a rock star. Appreciation is the fuel of the human spirit. If you want to change someone, don't use a hammer. Use a light. Chapter 2. The 6 ways to make people like you. If you want to be the person everyone is happy to see walk into a room, Carnegie gives us 6 social superpowers. 1. Be genuinely interested. We've all met the me monster, the person who just waits for you to stop talking so they can talk about themselves. Don't be that person. Like Tom, the salesman who stopped pitching and started asking his clients about their kids and their hobbies. He didn't just sell a product, he built a friendship. 2. Smile. It's the simplest hack in the book. A smile says, "I like you. You make me happy. I am glad to see you." 3. The name game. A person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Use it. When you say, "Hey, name, what do you think?" instead of just, "What do you think?" you've just signaled that they matter to you. 3. Listen, like really listen. Being a good listener isn't just staying quiet. It's encouraging others to talk about themselves. It's asking follow-up questions. 4. Talk interests. If you're talking to a gamer, talk about the new release. If you're talking to a gardener, ask about their tomatoes. Meet them on their island. 5. Make them feel important. This isn't flattery. Flattery is shallow. This appreciation. Tell the janitor you appreciate how clean the floors are. Tell your spouse you noticed how hard they've been working. Everyone is starving for validation. Chapter 3. How to win people to your way of thinking. Carnegie drops a truth bomb here that most alpha types hate to hear. You cannot win an argument. Think about it. If you argue with someone and crush them with logic, their pride is wounded. They'll resent your triumph. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. The no-force persuasion. There's a legendary story in the book about Patrick O'Hare, a tough-talking Irishman who was a truck salesman. Every time a prospect said, "What, a white truck? They're no good. I wouldn't take one if you gave it to me," Pat would get red in the face and start shouting about how great the trucks were. He won a lot of arguments, but he didn't sell any trucks. The shift? Carnegie taught him a new trick. When a customer said white trucks are trash, Pat would say, "You're right. Those other trucks are great. I know the people who make them, and they're top-notch." By agreeing, Pat took the fight out of the conversation. The customer had nothing left to argue about. With the defenses down, Pat could then pivot to, "Since we agree those are good, let me show you why our specific engine might save you some money on this route." He became one of the star salesmen in the company. The drop of honey rule. If you come at someone with your fists doubled, they'll double theirs. But if you come and say, "Hey, let's sit down and see why we disagree," you'll find you're usually not that far apart. For example, imagine you're dealing with a landlord who wants to raise your rent. Most people go in complaining. But one tenant in the book did the opposite. He told the landlord, "I know how hard it is to run a building, and I really appreciate how quickly you handle repairs." He made the landlord feel important first. When it came time to discuss the rent, the landlord, feeling like a fair and generous person, actually lowered the increase voluntarily. The key principles here: show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say, "You're wrong." If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. It's a superpower. It disarms people instantly. Get the other person saying yes, yes immediately. Start with what you agree on. Chapter 4. Be a leader. How to change people without giving offense. Leadership isn't about the title on your business card. It's about how people feel when they leave your office. Carnegie explains that if you must find fault, there is a surgical way to do it that doesn't leave a scar. The power of the and. We've all heard the feedback sandwich: praise, then a but, then more praise. Carnegie says, throw away the but. Imagine a parent saying to a child, "We're really proud of your grades, Billy, but if you worked harder on algebra, you'd be doing better." Billy was feeling great until he heard that but. Now the praise feels like a fake lead-up to a lecture. The pro move: change the but to and. "We're really proud of your grades, Billy. And if you keep up that same work ethic in algebra, your scores will be up in no time." See the difference? One feels like a critique, the other feels like a roadmap to success. The mistake-first strategy. Nobody likes a perfect Polly. If you have to correct someone, start by talking about your own blunders. An executive noticed his new secretary was making constant spelling errors. Instead of barking at her, he sat her down and said, "You know, when I started, I was terrible at spelling. I actually kept a little rhyming book to help me. Still mess up sometimes." By putting himself in the same boat, the secretary didn't feel attacked. She felt like she was being coached by a peer, not judged by a king. She went home and studied her spelling because she didn't want to let down a boss who was so human. Give them a reputation to live up to. This is perhaps Carnegie's most psychological tip. If there is a trait you want someone to have, act as if they already have it. There's a story about a teacher who had a problem student named Tommy. Every other teacher told her Tommy was a troublemaker. On the first day, she looked at him and said, "Tommy, I hear you're a natural leader. I'm going to rely on you to help me keep this class the best in the school." Tommy didn't want to lose that new, important identity. He spent the whole year being the most helpful kid in class because someone gave him a fine reputation to live up to. The Leadership Toolkit. 1. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. Do you think this would work? 2. Praise the slightest improvement. Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise. 3. Make the fault seem easy to correct. Tell someone they have the talent, they just need a little more practice. At the end of the day, Dale Carnegie's message is simple. The world is full of people who are lonely, defensive, and looking for a bit of recognition. If you can be the person who provides that, you will never lack friends, and you will never lack influence. But hey, I want to hear from you. Which of these principles hits home the most? Maybe you've had a Sarah moment where a little appreciation changed your week? Or maybe you've got a trick for remembering names. Drop a comment below. I read every single one. If you found value in this is what we do here at BloomShelf Hub. We take the world's most powerful books and break them down into lessons you can actually use. So do us a favor. Hit that like button if you learned something today. Subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. And stay tuned to the channel. We're building a library of wisdom here, and we're glad you're part of it. Until next time, go out there, remember a name, and give someone some sincere appreciation. I'll see you in the next one.